Right now, I want us to compare child nodes versus children. Okay, the one returns a node list, the other one returns an HTML collection. We've seen this, but let's have a look. Let's do a practical example quickly. So let's take, this is our normal code that we did together that we've been doing through this entire section. I want us to now add more to this code. Specifically, I want us to add a list. So let's add an unordered list tag. Within that, let's have 3 items. Item 1. And we'll do another 2 items. So item 2 and item 3. There we go. Let's save this and let's go to our website. We can see here we've got item 1, 2, and 3. We've just added this. Let's clear the console. You can see I'm doing this in real time, by the way. This is exactly the code we left off last time. Let me just refresh the page and clear the console. So here we are, a blank canvas. Well, firstly, I want to look at this child nodes. Let's have a look at that first. So let's grab our UL, right? Our unordered list. How can we do that? Well, there are many ways again. I'm just going to use the one we've been using recently, and that is get elements by tag name. Okay, and the tag name here is the UL. We know we've only got one UL element within our whole document. So it's going to be an HTML collection with one item in it. And I just want to actually access that item directly. So that's why I'm accessing the first item. And there we go, that should be our UL tag. If we now access child nodes, what do you think it's going to return? Do you think it's only going to return 3 items, item 1, 2, and 3? No, it's not, and that's the whole point that I'm trying to make. Remember, child nodes returns a node list, which means it's going to include all the text and character breaks and returns in our document. That's why if we open it up, there are actually 7 items. So yes, it does have our 3 li tags. There's the one, there's the second one, there's the third one. But in between, we know we've got these returns. So if we open up this text, we can see the node value is a return and it's all the spaces. If we go back to our text editor, it's literally the return and all the spaces. Is it making sense? So then, Clyde, how would we, for example, loop through all those items and change the background color? Well, let's just put aside the looping for now. What we could do is we could access the first child element, couldn't we? What do I mean by that? Well, say we wanted to change the first li tag to red. What we could do is we could start with our ordered list. We can access the first element child. We can then obviously style up that background color, and we can make that equal red, for example. So there we go. That is one way to do it, but this is quite cumbersome, isn't it? Because we can only access one item at a time. Here we access the first element child, not the first child. Remember, the first child also returns kind of every single type of node, including the text nodes. Here we access the first element node. So how can we use a loop? Any ideas? Well, this is where we can use children. Remember, I wanted to compare child nodes, which we've looked at, and I want to compare children. Children returns an HTML collection, and we already know that an HTML collection has to only consist of element nodes. So let's do that. Let's now define UL children as being the UL. Now I want to access the children property. Does that make sense? If we console log this out, we can just confirm before we start coding our for loop that this returns an HTML collection now with only 3 li tags. And how do we loop through this? Well, just like a normal for loop. I wonder, let me just use this as a template here. For let I equals 0 body children, but now it's not body children. We've defined our variable as UL children, and we know it's got a length property. How do we know it's got a length property? Well, I can open this up and show you. There's a length property of 3. So we know we want to start our loop at 0. We want to keep going until it hits that length of 3. And each iteration, we obviously want to increase our I by 1. Then we're wanting to actually access each li tag. And we know the li tag is going to be the list, unordered list children. And it's going to access that specifically. And what we're wanting to do, okay, we can keep let's just make it a blue border each. And we hit return. Child is not defined. Oh, sorry. Let's just access this again. It's not child, it's li. That should work now. Hit return, and there we go. We've just looped through each li tag. How cool is this? I know you might be thinking at this point, listen, it's a bit complicated, it's a bit abstract. Don't worry, we're going to be building very practical pages in this course, and we're getting more advanced as we go on. You'll see that all of these are building on each other. We already know now we're dealing with HTML collections, node lists. We've been through this in previous sections, so you should be familiar with what these are now. How cool is it, hey? It's really fun when it starts like building on each other and we see the practical effects. So anyway, let's keep going. I don't want to stop. I'll see you in the next lecture.